All right. Check one, check two. Just checking everything, guys. Just making sure everything sounds good. Stay tuned. We're gonna be going live in just momentarily.
Love like this doesn't fade. You tell me to stay, make it just another better day. I will run, I will run, I will run to you. It feels like I might fall through. I know if I fall, you'll catch me. Surrender my heart into a deep sea. If I have a trouble, I know that you will understand me. Let the stars just shine on through. Dry the light of this still moon. Heal the scars with your perfume. As we gaze up at the moon. Let the stars just shine on through. Just the light of this still moon. Heal the scars with your perfume. As we go right to the moon. Let the light bounce off us. As we lie here on the floor. Higher than we were before. Drunk on love like it's alcohol. Drunk on love like it's alcohol. Ooh. Drunk on love like it's alcohol. Ooh. Drunk on love like it's alcohol. Ooh. Drunk on love like it's alcohol. Yeah.
All right. All right. Whoa. That's what. Oh, first of all, I need to shut that door. I always do that. I always forget. Always forget. You guys are seeing the behind the scenes. Let me take off the hat too. And no, it's definitely a hat day. Definitely a hat day. Definitely a hat day. All right. How you guys been? You guys doing good? I hope everything is going well. Hope you guys can hear me. Shut this off. There we go. I think you guys can hear me. I think everything should be good. I just want to make sure I do a quick sound check. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're doing well. It's been a week. It's been crazy. I've been working on my album. Insane. I'm getting really excited about it. 30 songs. I'm doing the last two right now. I'm just kind of mastering them and checking them. Guys, it's huge. I honestly, like, I've been listening it with people, and I've been trying like selective groups. And if you're a part of that group, God bless you, because I've been driving you probably bonkers. Listen to this song. Listen. What do you feel? How do you feel? You know, because I want to make sure that it sounds good. I'm doing it all by myself. So I'm using a software called Ableton Live, and everything you hear, the drums, the bass, the guitar, the synths, everything, vocals, it's all me. It's been a lot of work, and I'm really happy. Let me just make sure I can. It's been a lot of work. Perfect. So you can't hear me. So yeah, so it's been a lot of work, and I think just put it into perspective for you, I started writing these songs that are going to be on the album in like 2019. So some of these songs are old, and then there's like a bunch of new songs, and it is going to be an album that keeps you on your toes. No matter if you're listening to the first song, the third song, fifth song, the curiosity is going to get the best of you, and you're going to stay. I wanted you as a listener to stay till the end. And there's every kind of music style you could think of. There is pop, there's a little bit of rock, there's a little bit of country, there's a little bit of EDM, there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. If you come out to my shows, it's like a show, but it's like a level up from it. It's just going to be huge. And I started working on the album so all these songs were collected in new and old, and in like it started in 2019, but it wasn't until last year, I would say in August, I knew once I had all these songs kind of, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna make an album. So it's been almost a year now, 7 months, 8 months into the work, and I've been working on it constantly. And if you don't know what it's like to make an album, pretty much what happens is you write the songs, you bring them to a studio, the studio lays down the tracks, you spend a couple days or weeks or however long it takes to lay down the tracks. The studio then will take it, tweak it, make sure it sounds pretty, and then they'll give it back to the band, and then usually the studio will work with the band, or the band does independently, to produce, like, to send it out. Now, back then, I'm sure it was really hard to get the rights for your music and to, get on the radio and do all that stuff, but now it's come so easy. So for me, like, I'm going to be using DistroKit, SongSecure to get all my legal rights for all my songs, and I'm using a website called Lander. Lander is the other thing I'm going to be using to kind of master my songs. Like, I'm already mastering my songs, but I want them to be like perfect. And Lander is just, if you don't know what that is, it's a website that you can send your music to, and they'll master it for you, and they'll just make sure it's ready for radio. And so that's pretty much the process I'm doing it. Where I'm at is I'm just about to finish mastering, and now I'm going to start getting into the not so fun of it. It's more like the business aspect of it is what I call of it, which is like the promotions, the this, the that. But guys, I tell you, it's coming out soon. I don't want to give too much away about it, but it's hard for me not to. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty hungover this morning because I spent the entire night mastering my music and listening to it, and because the album right now is almost 2 hours long, so it's an hour and 45. So it started off with an hour and 45, and during that hour and 45, I was, during one song, I would sip on one beer. I started with one beer, and then another beer, and then another beer. And guys, I don't know what it is, but there's something that's just so delightful about a beer at midnight. That could be a song. Or I don't know. But all right, we're going to get in. We have some fun stories today. I just want to talk about my album really quick. I want to give you guys a little update on that. Before I actually sing the intro to it, to the story time, I do want to say I'm working on new reaction videos, but they're really hard because I don't know what the shoot to react to nowadays. COVID gave me a lot of things to react to, but now there's not that much stuff happening, so you should be seeing more of that and more videos coming soon. Feel free to check out my vlogs and stuff like that. But in the meantime, I'm really just doing these podcasts, some vlogs here and there, and I'm busting out my album, guys. So you guys are going to be seeing some more of that stuff. So let's get into story time. Here we go. Well, I'm bored as shit, got nothing to do during this quarantine time, so I might as well just sit in my house and make some type of podcast. Hey, it's podcast time. Why did I start these podcasts? Why did I? I don't know. I started them because I was absolutely bored. And I think now I'm doing it to get back in the swing of things because a lot of people were asking me, when are you going to start the podcast again? I want to be a guest on there. I want to do it again. So it's momentum for me. I They probably suck, but I'm getting better at it every day. So it's something you just got to keep doing. You got to keep doing it until one day it just kind of clicks for you. Um, and that's my plan. I've been trying so hard to figure out how am I going to get guests on here. And I know I've talked about this on other podcasts, but I just I just redid this whole studio, so this room. So I'd have to redo it again because I need a different camera angle. I'd probably need a new desk because this desk is shite. Um, just things like that. That's why I try to hide the desk because this is beat up, man. I have done many projects on this desk, and I'm not kind to my furniture. Is anyone kind to their furniture? I mean, really, it's furniture. You're gonna be parting with it at one point or another. I don't get it, but you do you. I've done. I've met people that have like the sofas that you can't eat pizza on. What the hell is what the heck is? That's the point of a sofa, homie. That's the point of it. To have a sofa when you're having a bad day where you can go on the couch and you can eat a tub of ice cream or you can mow down on some pizza or some fries. To not be able to do that, that's a sin. But hey, comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I could just be crazy. I had some stories for today. What were these stories? I had them in my head last night, but I was 3 sheets in the wind, my friend. So some days you just got to keep chugging along. Let's see. I have a list of here of like things just to talk about. I guess we could talk about this one. I haven't been on vacations. I haven't been on vacation in a while. I don't know if you guys have been on vacations, but I've not. I've not been on vacations at all. I think once COVID happened, it kind of obviously it stopped it. But ever since then, I don't really have the desire to anymore. Like I really don't, you know. And when I was younger, I used to go on a lot of vacations. Like I was that kid that friends would just want to take me on vacations with them. Like I don't know if you had those kids in high school or middle school growing up that they would just go on. I don't know. They would just they'd always be that friend that every time someone would go on like a vacation, you would go, and that was me. I was like the goat. And I'm not gonna lie, there was some pretty baller vacations, but there was times that there weren't. Like there was horror ones. Um, I was like a pretty friendly guy in high school, even though I was in middle school and school in general, even though I was probably bullied or made fun of, but I always was like a super friendly person, and because of that I was always friends with everyone. I was friends with the most popular people. I was friends with the like the, I don't know, redneck kids. I don't know what to call them. I consider myself kind of half redneck anyway, but like the preppy kids, the band kids. I was a band geek. I was a chorus geek. I was just friends with everyone. And I know I've talked about this in my prior podcast, my Storytime ones, where I always get myself into weird situations. And this is kind of one of those things where I get myself into weird situations. And there is this one particular friend who, growing up, him and I were like best friends, dude. Like we were like two peas in the pod, like brothers. And there was a time that he wanted to take me on a vacation with him and his family, because him and his family really didn't get along. They weren't really how do I say it, like best friends, you know what I mean? They always kind of bickered back and forth. So I think that's why he asked me, because he was like, the mom said you could take one of your friends, and he was like, well, I'll just bring Austin because I don't want to be alone. Hell with that. And I could totally understand why. I mean, there was times where this mom was like throwing fucking knives at the damn kid. it was like, whenever you went over their house or you hung out with them or you went on a trip with them. It was like um going on like the show with the Kardashians or something, like the Jersey Shore. It was always going to be like you needed a bag of popcorn, and that's why I didn't mind it, because I was like, oh, this is going to be fucked up. Like, oh my god. And like, I know I've talked about this in my podcast too, where I my humor is different. It's not like, and I don't get really the knee slapper humor. I don't get one liners. My humor is like, when I see someone walk into a door, I laugh hysterically. Um, when I see people get yelled at, I giggle, and and even when it happens to me, I giggle. Like, and it's the worst fucking thing, because no one can take me seriously ever, because it's just like I can't take you seriously when someone snaps at me, because it's I think it's like an uncomfortable thing, because I feel uncomfortable and I don't know what to do in that situation besides to laugh, because that's just what like I do. I just laugh and make people laugh. So where was I? Yeah, so shit, I just totally lost my train of thought. Sip coffee. Oh yes. So yeah, I that's where I was like, yeah, I'll go on this trip. Hell yeah, I will, because I knew that there was going to be something crazy happening, whether it's going to be an argument or something, and it was just going to be funny, and I was going to laugh. And usually I always got him to laugh too, because the mom had issue. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but a lot of the times this kid wasn't in the wrong, but there was times where this kid was in the wrong, because he would talk back to the mom and it would just be bad. It would be bad, 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 bad. Kids, don't talk back to your parents. When I talk back to my parents, whoa, oh my god. I mean, A, my dad worked in the jails and was a police officer, and B, my mom was Polish as hell, so she would whip my butt. So don't I never could get away with that as much as other kids. Um, but boy, when I saw kids that talk back to the mom, I loved watching it, because I'm like, shit's about to go down. And it was just, again, that's when I realized, when I was a little kid, I was, my humor was messed up. Anyway, so um, I go on this vacation with them, and I mean, the worst part was is I was actually sick when I was going. So and we had to fly somewhere, and it was a warm spot, and what it ended up happening was I was sick, and my mom was like, you can't miss this flight, you can't miss this trip, because you have to go, because they bought your ticket, they did this, blah 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 blah. So I had to go. So my mom, being the Polish trooper she was, I mean, she loaded me up with Benadryl, and I mean, this is early 2000s, so different time. um I felt weird. Let me just tell you that. I felt weird. Like, I remember my mom, like, laying out, like, all right, you're going to take Benadryl to kick the fever. You're going to take some Tylenol to do that. You need to take some kids' cough syrup, too. That's going to help with you just sleeping on the plane. And you're going to be like, and she wanted to kick that flu. She wanted to kick that cold out of me so bad. And to be honest, it did for the whole flight. It did. But when I was there, whoa, man, that was honestly the worst flu I ever got when I was a kid. Because it was totally a fluke, because I remember being on the beach and it was 90 degrees out, and I had a towel wrapped around me. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was trying to sleep, and it was like too loud, and I was just dying, dude. I thought I was dying. And but then right after that day, I was totally fine. After that day, I was totally fine. So that was the start of the trip. So that was, oh my god, man. I remember walking down the hallway when the medicine all kicked in, and because like there was a point where I was in school and they announced, could this person please come down to the main office? You're being dismissed, which, by the way, was the best effing feeling as a kid. You stood up and you're like, that's right. Uh-huh. That's me. See you all suckers later. I'm getting out of this hellhole. You'd always grab your bag and do the walk and be like, there we go. I'm going to go on vacation now. And it was always better when you're going on a vacation too. So, yeah, I remember when we left, that classroom, I just remember being like, I feel weird. Like, I remember like every step I took, it felt like I was on a cloud. and not it was not fun. It was not fun. And I was like that the entire way. I was just totally out of it. To be honest, I don't remember the flight that much because I just remember being so out of it and just sleepy. But when we got there, it was weird. I don't know if any of you guys have been to one of these places before. I think it was like a timeshare or something. It had to have been a timeshare because this doesn't make sense. But or in like I don't know. There weren't Airbnbs back then, but maybe someone was renting it out. But we get there and it looks like a big hotel resort, but it's like no, it's I think I'm assuming I don't know about this stuff. So we get there and we take the elevator up and we go into our room and there's sticky notes everywhere. Like red flag already for me. That's when I remember like that was the first thing I remember is like seeing all the sticky notes everywhere. Like there were sticky notes on plants, there were sticky notes on every cupboard, there were sticky notes on plates, there were sticky notes on cups, there were sticky notes on the sink, there were sticky notes in the bathroom, and the wall, and the frames. Like it was like a sociopath just mapped out his next crime and then just left it so that when you guys went there, you were framed with it. Like it was like whoa. And I remember her like taking them down and reading them and being like, okay, so I'm assuming it was like notes for the next person that showed up. But way to start a vacation. Hear this guy? If you guys hear a moped, that's a moped guy. We have a guy in my apartment that's just, he's like 40, 50 years old, loves his moped. I'm not kidding. He just literally goes back and forth, back and forth. Oh my god, this dude makes me laugh. The other day I have nothing wrong with him, dude. Like you do you. I think that's cool. The other day I was walking out and this was after he spent like 4 hours on his freaking moped going back and forth. And he's on it. He has a virtual reality like headset, and he's outside, with a beer and just having a grand time. And I was like, honestly, I can't even hate on that because that sounds pretty cool. Those virtual reality headsets are really weird. I don't know if I can get into them or not. They hurt. I don't know. But anyway, back to the story. So I remember she was taking the sticky notes off and everything, taking them off, and immediately the kid, we're gonna call him Billy. Okay, so Billy looks at me and he's like, oh no, I left something at my house. I had no idea what it was, and I was like, okay, what does that mean? And he was like, my mom needs that thing. And I was like, okay. And that's when I clicked, because his ass was about to get kicked. And I'm like, oh no, I just tell her, just be honest. And I mean, that's what I said. I literally said, just tell her, just be honest. And he was like, that's not going to work out well. And I was like, well, I think it's going to be the best thing for you. And that I think was the worst thing I could have said to him. Because I was like, I think it's going to be the best thing for you. I think she's actually going to appreciate that. You got to realize that, she's going to really appreciate you being honest with her. And he was like, you think so? And I was like, yeah, I mean, if my mom would appreciate it. No. You always lie about that stuff so you don't get your ass kicked. Dude, like shit. I remember her he tells her like, Mom, I forgot this thing at the house. She screamed off the top of her head. Like, I don't even know how high it was. It was like different frequency. Towels, which I don't know where she got them from, like hotel towels, like the white ones, because this wasn't a hotel, this was like a house, it was like an apartment, but they look like just typical white towels. She's taking them and just winding them up and like launching them at him one by one. And as she's doing it, she's just like, you mother effer, you mother effer, you mother. And I'm just literally sitting here and I'm like, day one complete. Like, whoa. Now, growing up, I wasn't a rebel kid. It wasn't until my high school where I kind of got into some stuff. And I just really just couldn't really agree with my household anymore. That's when I became a rebel. But during this time, I was a mama's boy. I hate to admit it. I kind of like stood by my mom, and, I respected her to the moon and back. And I still do to this day. But, when you go on a trip like this for I think it was for a week. And you see this, and if you're just getting a glimpse of I'm not going to tell you the whole thing. I'm going to tell you one other instance that was then I actually called my mom up because I didn't know what to do. Um, but anyway, so we what am I saying? Um, when you've been with these people, like when you've experienced this for so long, it's kind of like it's kind of like a shock. It is like a shock within itself, um, and it makes you really appreciate everything you had and have. And I just remember getting home, and I remember hugging my mom, and then like being like, "Do you need me to do the dishes?" I can do the laundry if you want. Do I need to clean my room? I'll clean my room right when I get home, you know? And it was like I remember my mom being like, it was like sending you to boot camp. Like you came back and like, I mean, I wasn't a kid that would do his chores by any means. I hated chores, but when I came back, I was doing my chores. And that lasted probably like a couple months. But there was one instance where it was during this trip that it was insane. And this whole trip was very weird too. I mean, this was over 10 years ago, but I remember we didn't leave that house because the parents were kind of older and they promised us they were going to take us because we were near all these like theme parks, and they were like, we're going to go to this theme park, that theme park, blah, blah, blah. And we did not go anywhere. We didn't leave that resort. We didn't leave once, and there wasn't nothing to do. The only thing that you could do was shuffleboard, okay? Which, by the way, I got really good at that shit. I was like playing all the old people at the end. Like we're all placing bets, which don't even that. Yeah, when I told my mom about that, she still couldn't believe me. She was like, "What? How did you? You didn't have any money. We didn't send you with any." Excuse me. Oh, it was so funny. It was so funny. Yeah, that was like when I discovered that, and I remember um, there's this one group of kids that we ended up hanging out with, and it sucked when they all had to leave because we were just like, don't leave us, please. It's just old people. It's just old people. It was just old people galore. It was just everywhere. If you're in the like New England area, how every winter all the old folk, which is fine, they leave. This is where they went. It was like walking into like the boss level of like the older people. You just skipped every level of aging and you just went right to the boss. That's pretty much like how I can describe it. It was just like, do they I remember we were looking around and being like, we didn't know what retirement was, and we thought they killed off all the kids. So we were freaking out because we thought the parents were gonna like sacrifice us or something like that on like the third day. But yeah, the parents, all they did, they would wake up, they would have breakfast, go to the beach with wine coolers and all that stuff, and sit at the beach all day and get drunk as a skunk. Come back for lunch, cook lunch, go back to the beach, get drunk, even more drunk as a skunk, watch the sunset, come home, have a huge fight and blowout. Like just fight. They would fight and then go to bed and rinse and repeat. So me and Billy just had nothing to do. We were literally just walking around kicking sand, which that's a lot of fun. Let me tell you. Yeah, let me tell you. And that's why I'm not gonna lie. The entertainment was really when it was dinner time and shit hit the fan, because it was really the only if listen, when you promise a kid you're going to take them to a theme park and you don't take them to a theme park, that's fucked. That is messed up. That's messed. I spent I think it was 7 days on a beach, which now I probably wouldn't mind it that much, but as a kid I was just like, this is horrible. This has got to be what hell's like. Has to be. They clearly kill off all the kids, and this is all old people. This is clearly what it's got to be like. There's more sand than there are wrinkles, but there's more wrinkles than there are sand now, and it's just bad. It is just bad, my friend. And for a 10-year-old kid, that's pretty much I thought, this is horrible. This is not the way to go. So there was one dinner though where I think Billy may have stolen a cigarette or something like that. I forget, because like you said, he was kind of like a rebel. But I think he stole his mom's cigarette and she found out during dinner. And what had happened was there was a lot of knives thrown. There was actually a point where I remember shutting the door. So let me, to break it down for you, she was looking. They had a carton of cigarettes, and she was looking at the carton, and she was like, "I'm missing a pack of cigarettes." She was like, "Huh? Did you take my cigarettes?" And I was like, "I didn't take my cigarettes." And she looks at the husband. Husband's like, "I didn't take your cigarettes, sweetie." Looks at Billy. She's like, "You took my cigarettes, you mother effer. You took them. I know you effing did." Like, immediately just like knew, and he wasn't a good liar. He knew. He knew, and it escalated because I don't remember too much. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember too much about this one, but I remember it escalated to a point where Billy was like, "We gotta go. We gotta go into my room." And I remember you could hear her opening up the drawers in the kitchen. And as she's opening up the drawers, you can hear like shuffling of stuff, and she's looking for knives. And she's literally just like taking the knives, and she's just like tossing them down the hallway. And it wasn't like she was hard throwing them; she was just like tossing them, but still messed up. But I just remember just like looking at her and just like shutting the door, and then we went on the patio because there was like a patio outside of every room, like a little deck. And I just remember we got on the deck, and I was like, "We got to go on a walk. We have to leave here for a bit. Like, this is not a safe place. Like, no, because I don't feel safe. Like, we got to go." And he was just like, "Yeah, like we'll just wait for it to cool. We'll just wait for it to cool down. And we'll just head out." And we left. I remember when she cooled down, we literally ran out the door, and we were gone probably from 9, and we didn't get back until, I remember it was like well past midnight, 2 maybe, 2 o'clock. And we were just out there just chilling on the beach because we were just like, we just gotta wait for them to go to bed pretty much. And it was freaky as F. And it was eye-opening, dude. Like, I feel bad for people that have families like that. It's really bad. But you don't know what to do, because you don't know if you should step in, or you should just let it be, or and when you're a kid, like, that's not your job. That's not your job to do that. And how no one takes a kid seriously, so that's the last thing I'm gonna do. So but everyone knew about it. It was never Everyone knew about this family. Like, it was it was weird. It was weird. And you just felt bad. You just felt bad because you didn't know if it was from, because Billy just was like always talking back, and yeah, it was just always back and forth, and it was nuts. But I remember because they lived in near my house growing up, and you could just hear them. You could hear the mom just freaking out every now and then. Why did I go on this trip? Believe it or not, because I'm asking myself this too now as I'm explaining this story, but weirdly enough, they were, like I said, they lived close by. So, and the mom just kind of bought the ticket for me, like just kind of bought it. So when she asked that kid, her son, and the son asked me, what ended up happening was she called my mom, and she ended up like, is your son coming, yes or no? And my mom's like, yes, he is. Okay, good, he's coming. So when you're in a situation when you're put into something like that, especially when you're a kid, you really don't have a yes or no option. You just gotta smile and wave, boys, smile and wave. But I remember coming home and just absolutely loving my family, and I remember kissing the ground that my mom walked on. Like, it was just like going to boot camp. It really was. So parents out there, if your kids are trying to get rowdy, just send them over some kid's house that the parents are crazy. One of the ones where the dad just walks around the house just like either in his like boxers or something like that constantly. That's usually the one you want to send. Nah, actually, don't send them that one. That's too creepy. We had a dude that lived in my block like that. Yeah, it wasn't good. It was weird. It was weird. I can't believe I almost said that. Don't send them over there. They're creepy. Oh shit. But yeah. So that was that. That was that in a bag of chips. Um, so today we're gonna be doing we're doing Storytime podcast obviously right now, but later on I'm gonna be doing my live stream for you guys. I'm gonna be doing that around 3 o'clock, just because I have a crazy day today. I have to go to my family at 4 o'clock and help my family out and do that sort of stuff. So I unfortunately I had to move my typical live stream performance. So if you guys want to see that, you guys can stick around and yeah, feel free to hang out for a bit, listen to some tunes. This is more of just me talking to you guys. I like doing these kind of things just because I want to get back into YouTube. I want to get back into the podcast, back into streams and stuff like that. And it's hard when you haven't done it in a long time. I'm sure if you've watched some of my past ones, if you watch the entire thing, I love you. Like, you're awesome. Like this stuff, subscribe, comment. Really, just comment. Like, I enjoy people's comments, and it when you do this sort of thing, you just kind of do it. So when someone comments, it's like, oh my god, someone actually watched it. That's good. Because you see the likes and you see the views and you see all that stuff, but the comment is a real like thank you or subscribe. Oh, subscriber, yeah, subscribe. They're the best. They're the best. If you want to tip a YouTuber or a musician, something like that, you subscribe. That's what you do. I don't know why I just went like all Italian on you guys right there. But yeah, so doing more of this stuff, album, craziness, craziness, good stuff. We had this guy for a while, so I was talking about the guy in the moped. We've had I don't know what it is, but this apartment attracts people with mopeds. We've had like 3 of them, and this guy, he's not the worst one we've had. He's good though. He's getting close to the one of the worst. Because the thing that he does is he'll just go back and forth. He just goes back and forth. There was this one dude though that would drive a moped that was way too small for him. I thought he would break it every time he got on it. I'd just be like, yee. I'd feel, it's like you just feel bad for the scooter at that point. But he would get on it and he would just, like, from 10 o'clock in the morning all the way till 4 o'clock in the morning, and 4 o'clock at night, like PM, just drive in circles. Oh my god, it was bad. And I remember it came to the point where me and a bunch of neighbors ended up, we were like, we gotta do something. So we ended up talking to the people, that the tenants or the owners of the building. The guy does no longer live here, because on top of that, he would also leave like all of his kids' toys all over the lawns, like every yard. Like, when you came into our apartment, it looked like a Toys R Us just threw up all over the yards, and it was bad. You didn't know if it was trash or you didn't know if it was toys. You didn't know what it was, and it was just because of this one guy. This one guy just like, he did have like 6 kids in his house, but they ran the place, dude. They ran the place. There was a point where kids legit like ran the streets of this place. It's weird. It's weird. I've lived in a few places in New Hampshire, and I'm not gonna lie, the place I'm living at now, I do like it. I like the location. It's nice. It's close from like everywhere I play at, so it's a good spot for me. But I will say it's kind of more city-esque than what I'm normally used to, and it's taken time to kind of get into it, but it's actually really It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I also shaved. I don't know if you guys noticed. I did shave. I did. I kept getting whiskers. I call them whiskers. You get whiskers and you get them like up in your nose, or you get them like in the corners of your mouth. Oh my god. And no matter how many times you trim them, they always just come back. And I was just like, there was this points where I just felt like I looked like a drug addict, because I just always be rubbing my nose or hands just all up on my face. And it was just because you'd have like this one little hair in your mustache that would just constantly go up in your nose, and it only would happen until you like moved it a certain way, and it would just like, it just pop up. Oh my god, it drives you nuts. Sometimes it happens to me when I'm just like performing. So I'm like playing guitar and I'm like, I look like Sylvester Stallone, like is about to have a stroke. Pretty well. He looks like all right. No, it just looks yeah, it looks really weird. Um, I just came to a point where I was like, you know what, summer's around the corner. Why not? Why not? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. And I'll probably grow it back. I mean, it's hard to maintain shaving. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's scratchy as all hell right now. I gotta go back to it. Gotta go back to it. I hope you guys um, are having a good one, having a good time. I hope you guys enjoying the podcast. It's a little more scatterbrained than usual today because it's still pretty hungover. Wow, bad decisions. Listen to me. Bad decisions were made. Don't do it. Don't do it. But if you guys like this stuff, feel free to subscribe and like and all that stuff. Just because it really helps me out. And again, like I said earlier, I just do this stuff and I don't really. It's hard to see like the pat on the back. So subscribing and liking all that stuff, it just helps out with that sort of stuff. I appreciate it. It all means a lot to me. So and especially with this album coming out, I can't wait. I can't wait. The song that you were hearing in the beginning, that's actually gonna be one of the ones that's gonna be on it. I've actually been kind of sneaking teasers in. You probably don't even notice it, but I do. I do some hardcore subliminal messaging because I don't want to give too much away, and I don't want to annoy people, and I don't want to drive lunatics away. I want to bring them closer. And a lot of work has gone into it, and a lot more continuously goes into it. So, yeah, really, really happy about it. I have all these books right here. I was actually showing this on my Instagram. So all these books you see here, these are all the books that I used to write the album. Um, that's four. That's four complete notebooks, just full. Um, you write a lot as a musician. If you're someone that is a singer songwriter, you keep writing. You keep writing. You never stop writing. Um, Even on my phone, like I use my phone if I don't, because I don't carry a journal with me, even though I should, but I just use my phone when I'm kind of walking and doing stuff. And if you look at my notes, like my notes are just literally like on my phone are just crazy. Like it's just constant. Ooh. But yeah, just constant ideas and thoughts and stuff like that. And you just write. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. You try to perfect it. You listen, you evaluate. You try not to listen too much. You know what is a huge problem nowadays, and I've actually wanted to talk about this. If you guys are on my personal page, my Facebook, my personal Facebook page, you've probably seen me kind of post about some things I've recently realized about being a full-time musician, doing it full-time. Because there are things that I've realized, and I hope that when I do these podcasts, that someone that's a musician or is trying to be, or someone that's wanting to just to live their dream and to try to do it, it hears it, because it's always important to understand points, different perspectives, different views, what's going here, what's going there, because a lot of things can be hurdles when you're trying to live your dream or try to do whatever it is you want to do, and you're always going to have those hurdles, and no one's going to tell you they're a hurdle, and no one's going to tell you if it's right or wrong, but a lot of the times it's up to you, and it's like a gut feeling you have to do, and sometimes you have to make yourself look like the bad guy. You have to make yourself look like you're an introvert, you staying in, because you're trying to work, you're trying to what's it called, you're trying to master your skill, you're trying to really fine tune it, and that's what I do. I just realize, yeah, but that's what I do all the time. I listen to my music and I listen to other people's music, but I try not to listen to it too much, because the thing with being a musician is you don't want to get other people's ideas in your head. Look at Dua Lipa. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dua Lipa right now, but Dua Lipa she's a singer songwriter. She's the one that did Levitating and what other ones? I'm trying to think. I don't know. She did a bunch of other like really popular songs, but she's getting lawsuits at the wazoo, and it's because she's supposedly ripping off all these other musicians, and it gets to the point where Dua Lipa is gonna have to pay 90% of the royalties of her music to these said musicians, and it's because, and I've seen it happen, um, it, actually in person with other people, but I'm not saying who, but where they go and they're listening to a song that's on the radio, and they're like, I want to do this, but I want to make it my own. And so they'll take the song, download it, not even buy it. They'll strip it off of YouTube MP3, load it into their DAW, and they'll straight up try to borderline copy and rip off that artist. And I call it the Wish edition. Okay, you know that like website called Wish, where it's like the worst shit. It like the picture looks like it's like high quality stuff, but then you actually get it and it's god awful. Well, that's what I call these type of instances, the Wish situation. You know what I mean? The Wish stitch. I don't know what to call it. But yeah, and it's a lot. It's really you're really opening a can of worms, because if your music ever did take off, you're gonna get so destroyed, dude. I can't even admit it, because like you're gonna get destroyed. You're just gonna get lawsuits. You're gonna get your don't rip off other musicians. That's pretty much what I'm trying to get to. What my goal when I write my music, there is never an instance where I'm like, I'm trying to sound like this, I'm trying to do this, I want to sound like this person, I want to sound like this song. No, I make it. There's something. I go on walks, I'll get drunk, I don't know, I do things to go out and to let my mind unplug. And when I unplug, I come up with these melodies, because I don't know, I just hear it. So maybe I could be walking and I could hear the cars driving by, and the way that the tires hit the asphalt, it reminds me of this beat I hear. So I'll go home with that beat in my head, and as I'm walking back to my house, I'm starting to write lyrics to it, and I can hear the chords. So when I come to my studio, I literally just like boop doop doop boop pop pop pop, and it's done. And that's the way I do it. And then it doesn't, and when I do it that way, when I show it to I've shown my music already, that it's gonna be on my album, to a few of my friends and closest friends and closest family members, and there has never been one minute where they're like, this sounds like this person, that sounds like this person, oh, this sounds like this, and that's exactly what I was trying to go for. And it makes me so happy to do that, because you don't want to rip off other people, you want to stick out. I know, you want to find your style. When you find your style, when you find what you're doing, that's when it takes off. It takes off to a whole different level, and it allows you time to breathe, and you can focus on like actually writing music, because it's really fun. Do not rip off other musicians. Like, you see it all the time. You see it all the time. Now, there's the best way to do it. Say if you're a musician, listen, I get it. You're not a good singer-songwriter. A songwriter. You're not a good songwriter. You just can't. You've been doing it, and it's just not working out for you. So what do I do? So what do you do? I would say, get some books. I have countless books. This is actually one that I read a lot. I'm just gonna take these out. This is a book that I've had for ages, and it's Writing Better Lyrics. Okay. Oh my god, a book, like a real book, right? Look, I've highlighted the crap out of it, because I've read it inside and out. It talks about rhyming. It talks about how to go with syllables, and how to, syncopation, ABA, It talks about different rhymings. It talks about how to rhyme. It talks about ways to write. This person, this is second edition. This is Pat Pattison. If you guys are interested in this book, maybe I could tag it. I always say this, but I never edit these videos after. So just go on Google and type writing better lyrics Pat Pattison, and you'll find it, second edition. And there's way more books that I have. I had a book for the longest time. Oh, I actually have it right here. Hold on. All right. I'm gonna show you guys. So you want to write better lyrics? You're not a good songwriter. I'm gonna show you some books. When I was in college, I was notorious for books. I loved them. I loved knowledge. And my homeschool when I was growing up, I didn't go to homeschool. My public school growing up didn't have a good music program. So when I went to my university for the first time, I was blessed with the faculty and the knowledge that they had, and attitudes not so much. But I'm being real honest right there. But seriously, their knowledge was really good. Yeah, and I soaked it up. And my favorite book of all time, I've read this book 15 times. Oh, I'm not joking. And it's gonna make you throw up. But it's tonal harmony, music theory. Why? Because this is the key to making music. If you are a singer-songwriter, if you're a musician, and you do not understand music theory, I hate to break it to you, you're not going to get that far. You're not. You're going to waste 5-6 years. I'm not shitting you. You're going to waste 5-6 years of just trying and 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 failing, when you could just read this book and you can understand immediately how chords work, how to build a triad. What is a triad? What's a diminished seventh chord? Where do I go to Dorian mode? How do I use Phrygian? How do I write a 1-4-5? How do I write a chord progression? How does a chord progression fit? How do I go from a major to a minor? This book is literally the holy Bible of musicians. And I will fight that to the death. This book could take you out, okay? This is no joke. When I went to school, you had to buy this book, and then they came with another book, and it was the answer sheet. So you would have to fill out like questions, and you had to make sure you're always on top, and you just constantly. Oh my God, the amount of times I've read this book is overwhelming. That's my first book. I really want to say that tonal harmony with an introduction to 20th century music, 6th edition by Stephen Koska and Dorothy Payne. These people right here, and Dr. Santori of that university, oh my God, hats off to you guys. My second favorite book, which I've used way too much, it looks like it's just covered in blood, but it's Kool-Aid, because of college parties. Because why? Because when I was in a college band, sometimes we would take some of these songs and add some cool twists to them. But this is a great. It's another good book. It's called The Real Book. It's called The Real Book, and they have many editions. I'm pretty sure there's a real one, and then there's like a non-real one. I forget. Just do your research. But get the real book. The 6th edition. That's what I got. Volume 1. And I've used this plenty of times. What is this going to teach you? This is going to teach you the most famous pieces in jazz that every musician, every music lover knows. I mean, you got Afro Blue right there. You got All Blues, All of Me. You got a lot. It's literally everything. It's Call Me Irresponsible, Blue Bossa. They have everything. They have bossas. They have every jazz kind of piece, and it's gonna teach you how to read sheet music. Sheet music. Now, you don't need to read sheet music. I'm going to be quite frank with you. You don't need to be fluent in reading sheet music. It's just going to help you understand chord progressions. That's why I use these growing up, because if you look, it's telling you what kind of chords to play and what notes those are. And the more you get you get more acquainted with that tonal harmony book, this is going to make more sense. So you get this book first, you read this book first, you get a piano, and you just read it and you just enjoy it like a book. Then you get this book, and it's time to use that knowledge you gain from that book to the test. Okay? My third book is a very special one. But before I get into it, I want to be frank. These are the fundamentals. Those are the two things I think you're going to need as a musician, because you could listen to as much music as you want. You could ignore this and just try to do it yourself. But why, when it's already written there and there's knowledge on it, and that knowledge you could use to make your music better? That's nonsense, man. You're walking away from a $2 deal and you're looking at a $500 deal. It's like, doesn't make sense to me. So when I was in school, the biggest thing that they taught me was repetition, but B, to start off with classical, to start off with the fundamentals. Because when you start off with the fundamentals, it's going to, when you do the fundamentals in repetition, it's going to build muscle memory. And that's what it did for me. And I remember when I was in college, I was like, I hate classical music. I don't want to sing Italian arias. I don't want to do this Mozart, blah, 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 this, that. But I still did it, and I still went through it because it made me better. And I didn't agree with it then, but I agree with it now. I can take gigs and jobs that I've never been able to take. And I'm still able to do that. B, it allows me to understand how to sing correctly and how to do it right. B, it allowed me to understand warm-ups and scales and how to use scales and how to look at music. And lastly, it taught me how to read sheet music and do all that stuff. That was doing that's classical and doing the fundamentals. Now, when you start doing the classical and fundamentals for so long, again, it's muscle memory to you, right? You're following along, right? Now you want to start writing your own music. Perfect. So you start writing your own music. How do you write your own music? Well, that's when you take that book I was telling you about, that singer-songwriter book. Okay? We talked about this one. Okay, you're going to take this one. This is your new baby. Okay? And this, a dictionary. Literally. This is a special dictionary, though, because this is words to rhyme with. So this is going to give you every rhyming word possible. This is before rhyme zone, okay? This shows my age, which is weird to say because I'm only 26. But, yeah, before you cool kids out there had technology and Instagram and shit on your phones, this is what us dinosaurs would read to find a rhyme, okay? Countless paper cuts trying to find a rhyme for a word. That's going to help you a lot. It really is. Words to rhyme with. Get it, my friends. Those are really going to help you. Those are really going to help. Why? Because it's going to teach you the fundamentals of writing lyrics, of writing music. Because now that you've done the fundamentals of playing music and playing other people's music, now it's time to make your own, and there's a right way to do it. And there's a wrong way to do it. And if you hear my old stuff, you'll hear the wrong ways of doing it. And maybe it's good to you, but to me, when I was listening to it, it didn't tickle my fancy. The last thing I want to talk about is inspiration. Inspiration's key. How do you get your inspiration? Where do you get your inspiration? Be careful where you get your inspiration from. I don't listen to my inspiration audibly. I visually get my inspiration. I read. I do. This was the book that it just held me. Where the Sidewalk Ends. Shel Silverstein. We read it as kids. You know, it was always good. Every one of these poems are beautiful. And the way he wrote them is beautiful. I'm a huge Shel Silverstein fan. So, with that being said, like I loved his music. Um, so he was a huge inspiration to me for writing music, and writing my own lyrics. Um, it helps with wordplay. It helps understand wordplay and all that stuff. You want to get your inspiration from something that's out of the ordinary. You don't want to do what everyone else is doing because everyone else is already doing that. You want to stick out, and that for me has always worked. I look at Shel Silverstein, I look at Dr. Seuss. I just read books. I read books, and I have I go out and live life. I have my hobbies, and I do this stuff, and I, like I said before, I like to get into stories, and by getting myself into those situations and stories, um, it just gets me, it allows me to become a better storyteller, and that's what being a singer songwriter is. It's being a storyteller. It's being able to tell something visually, no, not visually, audibly, and having that listener understand what you're talking about, and to have that moment where they feel it too with you. um that's what it is. That's going to help you with writing music. Do not by any means rip off other people. Why? It's just insane. um it's happening a lot nowadays, so and it's easier to do it because of with technology and with how rapid music's coming out nowadays. But don't be one of those musicians that falls into that category that starts taking other people's music. It's just not healthy. Which goes me into my other topic, and this is gonna be my last topic, because if you're someone that's again, you're a musician, or you're someone that's trying to get somewhere in life, and those hurdles I was talking about, another hurdle is people. And I'm gonna be freaking honest with you. I've had so many vultures. I call them vultures, where they come into your life and they just suck the life out of you. um it's like Harry Potter. If you guys watch Harry Potter's, those like the ghost things that Harry Potter's afraid of, that like suck your soul or something like that. It's those people. And they can be the most deceiving people. They really can. Be careful. When you're onto something, you're onto something. And people want to slow you down, don't be slowed down. You keep going. You keep going and on that path. Recently, I've had a lot of opportunities where, and I'm not gonna name drop because I don't mind opportunities. I don't mind situations. I learn from them. But I've had opportunities recently where people have been coming out to my shows and they're like, "I really like your music. I want to play with you." And I say yes because I'm like, yeah, I love to play. I love to play with people, but I'm not trying to do anything with it. I just like to play. I already have my thing going on, so when I like to play with people, I like to play and have fun. That's as simply as I like to put it. Um, but what I've learned is that these people, that they see these shows, I don't know how to describe it, because it's like they see you and they want to be, they want to be, they want what you have, so they think that maybe playing with you they'll get that, and they go about it the wrong way. It's just not if you can kind of see what I'm getting at, it's not a good way to go about music, or go about any way that you want to achieve anything. Say if you're a painter and you want to paint something, and you see a painter on the street and he's killing it and he's making a fortune, and you're like, I want what he has. And there's like a term for what this is called. There's a legit term for this. But don't let that artist be. Just let him be. You do your painting, go down a couple blocks. Go down a couple blocks and just start doing your own painting. Why do you gotta just get on up? You know what I mean? It's jealousy. I'm gonna be flat out honest with you. It's jealousy, and I've seen it my whole life. Jealousy is always gonna come in people, and it's always gonna happen when you're onto something. And I'm not saying I am onto something. I'm just saying that I've been driven. I've been trying to not just to make it big, but just to uh, achieve my work. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like my work really hasn't gotten that much necessarily appreciation. So I think that if I, send my music out to like a record label or something like that, and I get that record label, that maybe that's making it, I just want, that's kind of what I want. but I just love making music. So it's like a weird back and forth, but I have to notice to keep being on my path, and I appreciate people coming out to my shows. And if you're drunk or if you're feeling it, you can always come up and dance with me. You can sing along. I love those moments, but don't go out to a show and want to, you know what I mean, kind of sabotage it. It's just not right, because that musician's working really hard, really really hard to, like, when I go to my shows, like, I have a set list kind of in mind, but I look around the audience and I try to gauge what I'm feeling. So I try to play, like, if I see some 6 year olds, I'm gonna play some Van Morrison. I'm gonna play some The Doors. If I see some 30 year olds, I'm gonna play some Backstreet Boys. I'm gonna play some of this. If I see some kids my age, I'm probably gonna play some Green Day or All American Rejects, Panic at the Disco. Um, if I see someone from the 80s, I'm probably going to play some Ozzy, or I'm probably going to play some hair band stuff. Um, someone from the 90s, I might do some Alice in Chains. I might do some Godsmack. I might do Rage Against the Machine, System of the Down, alternative rock, Foo Fighters. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Country, I can play some country. Okay, well, we got pop. So I have it in my head. So when someone comes up to me and is like, "Hey man, I got my guitar in my car. Can I come and play with you?" It's like, I could you maybe do it, like, can we just jam like another time? Like, it's hard right now because it's a business. It's a business. That's what a lot of people don't realize. I'm not trying to. I want to do it, but I you know I want to keep doing this full time, and eventually I'm gonna have a kid. Eventually, I'm already engaged. We're gonna be getting married. You gotta, there's a point in time where you gotta start trying to make more money with it. And yeah, sure, I don't mind the karaoke and like when people are drunk, but if you have your guitar in your car, that's a different situation, because I really like playing at this venue, and they pay me, and it's a good two-way street. It helps pay my rent. And if you're bad and I get you on stage and you bomb it, so don't I. So if I bomb it, then I lose a venue, and it looks bad on me. So you got to keep going. So that's kind of like my mentality. You got to keep going. So, like, shoo. And it's rough. It's rough because I just wish more people could just understand and be like, just let it happen. But it's always gonna happen. You just gotta know, if you're trying to get somewhere, you got to keep going. And I hope this all makes sense. I really hope it does. But anyway, if you guys like this sort of stuff, feel free to comment, like it, and maybe I could talk more about this stuff, because I think today was kind of actually pretty helpful for people that are trying to learn how to write music or to go about that stuff. So I hope this was helpful. I'm probably going to end it here just because I'm going to be doing my other live stream in an hour and I need to eat some food. But thank you guys for joining in. I really appreciate it. Feel free to stick around for the next live stream and for next week. I appreciate it, guys. Much love. Take it easy.